welcome to the launch of GiveCo 519. Thank you to all of you for being here tonight. We're really excited about this initiative and truly appreciate your support in getting this off the ground. This idea sprouted from our frustration with the negative narratives that have been surrounding London over the past few years that have done just such a disservice to a wonderful city that has so many organizations working hard to provide a solution to the city's social challenges, to cultivate community, and to build a brighter future for all who live here. We had a number of conversations about some of the bottlenecks friends and family have faced trying to navigate the broken systems while seeking support for their loved ones, and we just felt the need to do something about it. And so the Giving Collective, or GiveCo 519, was born. The goal with this is simply to bring together our arm's length community and resources to support grassroots organizations who are having an impact in the city. We wanted to remove the bells and whistles of the traditional charity gala model and just gather as a group of friends to learn about the reality of what's happening in the city from the people who have their finger on the pulse, and then collectively contribute, with 100% of donated funds being used to help these organizations out. So thank you to all of you for being here tonight, for your compassionate hearts, for your curious minds, and for your desire to be a part of collective change. We felt the education piece was critical to helping us understand the reality of the social challenges here in London, and wanted to gather some context as to why these dollars we're donating tonight are so crucial. Thankfully, we have a very special guest here with us tonight who has generously agreed to come spend some time with us to share her insight into what she's seeing at the ground level and chat about what her organization, Arcade Mission, is doing to help. So please join me in welcoming the Executive Director of Arcade, Sarah Campbell.
Do you want me to stand?
Do you want to stand or do you want to sit?
It's whatever's comfortable for you.
Why don't we start with you just telling us a bit about yourself, about Arcade Mission, and maybe about your journey to the role of Executive Director.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me, and I'm really pleased to be sharing with you about Arcade Street Mission. I've been the Executive Director there for 5 years. I joined the organization in 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020. The COVID pandemic happened in our city. I was just telling Kevin Barry, who was the chair of our board at Meals on Wheels, my very first executive director job, you know, what that journey has been like from Meals on Wheels to Arcade Street Mission. And I thought that I was joining a sleepy little organization that was doing, you know, a soup kitchen model on Dundas Street. The day I started, we had 5 staff, and I was raising teenage kids, and I thought I'm just gonna focus on home and take a little job for a little while I launch these children. But COVID happened. The doors of social agencies were closed across our city. The issue at hand, I was told, was 200 people deep. There were 200 unsheltered, unhoused people on the streets of London at a time when we were all being told to stay home and stay safe. But these people couldn't be home and safe. There was nowhere to go. And in fact, the doors to many social agencies were closed. And Arcade's board and the leadership there said, we want to keep going, we want to keep serving. And so my very first days were sliding paper bag meals down a 6-foot table out the front door to people who were not having access to running water, not having access to restrooms, not having access to indoor space, while the rest of us were terrified of what was happening in the world during the COVID pandemic. And so that was the beginning of my time at Arcade. We had opportunity to run the WISH Winter Interim Solution to Homelessness, which was the trailers that you saw on York Street and on Elizabeth Street. So that was really our first move from being a soup kitchen to other services in our city. And from there, we've grown significantly to try to meet the growing demand also in our city.
Yeah, amazing. So do you want to just tell us more about the services and the programs that you do offer?
Sure. Well, at this point, Arcade, so you know, from 2020, our top numbers were 120 meals a day that we were delivering to people experiencing homelessness. We currently deliver about 1,000 meals a day across the City of London. We partner with other organizations who deliver meals to encampments. So about 360 meals a day go to encampments across the city. We also have about 350 coming out of our own kitchen at 696 Dundas Street, which is a drop-in location for people experiencing homelessness. And then we have a program at Warner, so not Quinton Warner House, which is a mission services thing that is our recovery house. Cronin Warner, which is Bishop Cronin Church on the corner of William and Queens. There was a daycare in a 3-story building there, if you're picturing it in your mind. That space has been converted and is sheltering 70 people, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, towards transition from homelessness to housed. We have housed over 200 people from that program in the last, well, it'll be 2 years this coming January. So we're very pleased with how that program has worked. And then we have some houses out on Oxford Street West, where we have some recovery living taking place.
Yeah, that's amazing. April and Michelle and I had a chance last week to go and tour the Dundas location, and I think we were pretty blown away at the magnitude of what you do there, and it was very impressive. I think a lot of the narratives we're seeing online and in the media about what's happening in the city have lacked context and have been incredibly harmful, especially when it comes to maintaining the dignity of the population that you serve. Can you maybe paint a picture of the reality of the situation for those living unsheltered and unhoused? Like, who's utilizing your services, and what should we know about the population that Arcade serves?
Sure. Well, I think that, the narrative is typically that these are people who are choosing homelessness. People are choosing to be outside, they don't want to be served, they're difficult. And I think that the reality shows something quite different. The fastest growing population that is experiencing homelessness is in fact senior citizens. And that's because people are being rent evicted, people are finding themselves unable to care for themselves in their homes, or their mental state is not able to keep up with what's going on. They're not paying their rent, they get evicted, they don't know how to navigate that system. And so that is the fastest growing population that's becoming homeless. Not the biggest number, but I think it's important to know that. The other group that's really suffering is people who fall into unemployment, relationship breakdown, a mental health crisis, or a physical health crisis. So these are the things that lead to becoming homeless. And of course, the equalizer at the base of all of those things is people without community. When you don't have the natural supports of family, friends, people who see what's going on and can intervene and help you, that's really where people find themselves becoming homeless. So those are the starting points. And I think people in this room can probably relate to those things. Someone has lost a job in the last 6 months. Someone has had a mental health crisis in the last year. Someone has had difficulty with their physical conditions, or maybe has had to take a long leave from work. And the difference between that person and you and me and the people on the streets of London is what you're experiencing here in this room right now. Community. It's people. People knowing you, people seeing you, people showing up for you. That is the thing that makes the difference. And so I would really want to highlight that in terms of what's going on for folks. The mental health and addictions, which we often say, well, what came first, the mental health and the addictions or the homelessness? Like, in what order do these things come? And I think it's really critical to recognize that for any of us, if you were spending night after night in those conditions, it's not hard to look out the window and just imagine. It's not a very long journey before you're overtired, stressed out, and not well, or doing whatever you can to get refuge from the bitter cold. And drugs and your mental well-being are the first things that kind of come in this environment. So that tells you a little bit about it.
Yeah, and I think on that sort of line, I know so many people place the onus on the individual who's living unsheltered and unhoused. Can you talk maybe about how problematic that narrative is, where the finger should maybe be pointing instead, and maybe about the role that we could play as a more involved community?
Well, you're giving me the soapbox, so I'm going to preach. I think it's really important. If you know who Chuck Lazenby is, she's the executive director of Unity Project here in our city. So I like to quote her on this because she's been doing this work for 25 years, and I think she's a good resource here in our city. And she says, the solution to homelessness is housing, and the solution to poverty is income. These things seem pretty simple on the face of it. And both of those things require political action. We need to pay attention to the policies that are in place. We need to advocate for what is affordability. You'll hear the word affordable housing come up very often in policy, but when affordable housing we have to ask the question, affordable to whom? Affordable at what income level? And these are challenges. And you know, I know that there's a number of realtors, hands up if you're in the housing market, you know, this is some of the work that you do. There's a number of people who know about the housing continuum, and people are suffering all along that continuum. It's actually not easy to find income and home balance. I don't know about you, but my mortgage is looking scary as I renew. So these are real things that are impacting average citizens, and on the far end of the spectrum, the poorest of us, it's unattainable. And that is a crisis for our communities. And so this is where we have to be very creative. And there's a couple ways we can be creative as citizens. One is to very truly speak to your public representatives. I know it seems like, does that really make a difference? I can tell you firsthand, because I've started to use my own voice, speaking to your representatives does matter. Voting, I know, we've been hearing it since we were 18, but voting matters. Make sure you're voting. This is an election year municipally. You might think, oh, like the last mayoral election was voted by 68,000 people in this city. It was not that many human beings that cast a vote. You can make a big difference by voting and by getting your colleagues to vote. And then I would say, in the spaces and places, I am so excited to be here. I was just saying, this is my 4th night out this week. I'm so excited to be here because the conversation we're having now, you listening, thank you for listening, but I will thank you twice as much when you share this information with somebody else in your life in the next 48 hours. Because when we actually mobilize on this topic, you know a landlord, ask them to consider how they might vet for a more difficult to place tenant. You know someone who's looking to help and make a difference, consider how might we catch people before they fall into eviction, you know? And I could tell you about all sorts of programs around that. See me at the table after if you want to know about those things, but really, there are ways to help people before it becomes a crisis, and it is, again, that community that sees the issue and intervenes that makes the difference.
Yeah, I love that. You mentioned a bit about the political landscape there, and I just want to mention there was some uncertainty about city funding earlier this year for your organization, and you met some resistance from city councillors and some members of the Oldies Village neighborhood about operating in your current space on Dundas. Can you talk about the Not in My Backyard movement and the damage it causes? I guess what happens if that funding from the city doesn't come through? What does that mean for your services?
Well, this kind of touches on 2 of your questions. Yeah. So one is, what does your donation do? So currently at 696 Dundas Street, we are funded for 4 hours a day of service. Meanwhile, we're the only 24/7 open door in our city, which means particularly on weekends and holidays, if you come across a person in our city who's experiencing homelessness and you give them your $5 or there is nowhere to actually say, why don't you go to these people, they can help you out. There is no open door other than Arcade Street Mission on Saturday and Sunday. Now, Monday to Friday, 9 to 4, there's a couple places else that you could also send people. And the reality is, again, if you look outside on a night like tonight, there's nowhere for people to go. Arcade Street Mission, 35 beds. That's the total number. That can happen on a night-by-night basis, that those spaces are open and refilled each night. So it's a really important thing. Now the pushback, the NIMBY, had a meeting with the police today.
Okay.
So we want to ask people who are homeless not to be in the doorways of businesses. That's reasonable. We don't want people who are, using drugs and tenting in our parks, because our parks are meant for community activities. It's reasonable. It's reasonable to say that we don't want this here. What's not reasonable is to say that without an option. So absolutely, we need public spaces to be safe and welcoming for the whole community, but we can't say those things if we're not willing to do the uncomfortable part of also creating a place of welcome somewhere for people. And what's going on in our community right now, we're paying an awful lot of money. Again, taxpayers in the room, pay attention. You're paying a great deal of money to our police services who are frustrated as heck because they aren't doing their job. They're doing a move along role to nowhere. You have to leave here, but there's nowhere to go. And so what we need to do again as citizens, this is not blame the police, blame the budget, this is our community. A healthy community is one that says a system is incomplete if we don't look at the full picture. So yes, we want open air drug use to cease. Yes, we want our parks to be welcoming for children. Yes, yes, we want these things, but not without a finished solution to where can people actually go. So I would just encourage us all to think that. That's where the NIMBY comes from. So not in my backyard equals not in anyone's backyard equals where the heck are people to be. And when we finally begin to understand that the people we're talking about are not that different than you or me, they're actually more like us than not like us, that's when the mind shifts and we realize that when you have a safe place to be, I'm also safer. It's so important to think like that.
Oh yeah, what a beautiful message, yeah. Shifting gears here a little bit, you talked a little bit about the donated dollars here, but I know I've recognized my own skepticism in some of the charities and their utilization of funds, seeing hefty budgets for administrative and operational costs and wondering how many of my dollars are actually reaching the people who are seeking support. Do you want to maybe just, obviously there are costs associated with running an organization, but do you maybe want to talk about that and about where this money tonight is going to be utilized?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So, I was just saying, there are organizations in our city that have heavy government funding. Often what comes with government funding is a heavy duty to report. Anyone who's worked in a hospital or any of our government systems, you might know how many TPS reports we have to do if you've watched Office. I'm just doing a report to do a report, that can be frustrating, but those are funded through government dollars when it's a government thing. Arcade Street Mission is a grassroots organization that was 100% donor driven when I started. For every dollar that we have donated, we match it with a government dollar and 2 community dollars, which is volunteerism and in-kind donations. So you'll see on your table our needs for the month. We have an incredible network of support that provides us with most of the food. I said 1,000 meals a day. Of that 1,000 meals a day, our budget for food is only about $2,000 a week. That's crazy. That's a crazy budget for purchasing food. And that's because of the generosity of donations. And so, every dollar that we raise, particularly right now, so we're in a campaign called the Holiday Big Give. It is exclusively to keep our night beds open. So every dollar that we raise during this period of time, we need about $500,000 to keep our night beds open at Arcade Street Mission.
Amazing. And then in terms of supporting the ARC, outside of the collective donation that we're going to give tonight, how can people support what you're doing? Do you need volunteers? Is it just the financial resources that you're looking for, or how do we show up for the ARC?
Well, there's many ways. So we have what's called 4 ways to serve. You can watch the video online. I didn't make it, but I endorse it. It's a great tool. So the 4 ways to serve is, you can volunteer. So come in, and actually we have a really fun way to volunteer, which is making a group, committing to once a month, so maybe the 3rd Thursday in the month. I don't know which days are available right now, but you and your group come in to serve the meal at the evening once a month. It's actually a great team building experience. It will keep you humble. It'll remind you why you do what you do in your community. So that's one fun way to serve. There's also just one-off volunteer opportunities. Some of you are probably really great at income taxes. Well, we have an income tax clinic. We always need volunteers for that. We have a clinic that helps with helping people find housing, ironically. We have, different volunteer opportunities, so I encourage volunteering. We also have run a third-party event, and I have a plaque tonight to celebrate this very third-party event that's raising funds for us.
A lot of athletes in this room, we love a plaque, yeah.
So these guys had hardly even existed before Paula wanted to present them with a plaque. Paula is our fundraising coordinator. So here,
girls, you want to come up here?
Come on, guys. This is your very first recognition for your very first inaugural event. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys. This is a big deal. Third-party event volunteers right here. They found one of the 4 ways to serve. You all have the opportunity tonight to join us in one of the 4 ways to serve, which is to make a financial donation. We certainly can't do our work without financial donations. Our current goal is $2 million a year that we raise to provide our services. That's what we need to raise. That does everything from advocacy, like that public advocacy and community connecting, all the way through to these night beds, which is what we're fundraising for right now. And yeah, so that's 1, 2, 3. What's our 4th way to serve? Attending the events. You're doing 2 of them right now, so there you go.
Yeah, amazing. Just sitting here talking to you and you know what we see in the city too, like obviously the situation feels overwhelming and just incredibly immense. You and your organization are obviously doing incredible work here, but just on a personal level, like what is giving you hope in this space? Do you have stories that you'd like to share, or just to generally answer that question, what is giving you hope?
Sure. Well, the job is heavy, I'm not gonna lie. I have changed in ways that I could never have imagined. I'm a social worker by education. I've worked in social services my whole life. I was a counselor at Inova, so worked in that work, and I thought, like, that's pretty close to homelessness. Like, I probably have some familiarity with this. I worked in housing. That's housing people from homelessness. It is a cultural shock to work in homelessness in the City of London, to see people like in third world conditions in London, Ontario, like not having access to like the most basic of humanitarian needs. It absolutely blows my mind. So that has been really difficult. On days when it's snowing, like the weather actually impacts me on a personal level, like nothing I could have imagined. Whether it's a really hot day, and I think about people being in the beating sun with no relief from that, or the snow coming down, or it's raining, or that bitter wind. You know when you get cold and you can't get warm? I don't know if other people are like this, and you gotta get into like tub or something because you're just so cold. And there's people like they have nowhere to be. Like that is just the condition they will be in. It's really impacted me personally. And the hope that keeps me going is kind of twofold. One is I see that same person the very next day who slept with a curb as their pillow, like making it through the next day. So like I must maintain hope for them. I must find a way to keep advocating for them. Like it's unacceptable for me to lose hope. That's like, it's just not even one of the options on the table. I will maintain hope for that person. I will also maintain hope for my staff, because when we're full, they are the people who say, I'm sorry, there's no room. And I must maintain hope for that staff person, because that is an incredibly inhumane action that we ask them to take on. Like it's really tough. And so for those two reasons, I must maintain hope. So then where do I find it? Great question. So I find it in moments like this. I actually find it in a room full of Londoners who might not be affected in the same way at all and are gonna go sleep in a warm bed, who took time out of their week to like listen to the story. I find hope in my 4 kids when I go home at the end of the day who say, it's okay, you've been out 4 dates this week because we really believe in what you're doing, Mom, and we love you and we're here for you. You know, I get hope from this year, all these third-party events. You know, we've got students and young people and we're engaging more of our community to take part. And I have great hope. I was hearing about Thrive also supporting Indwell. I have great hope in our solutions. You know, some of these housing solutions with supports, getting people the right place at the right time. You know, the generosity of the volunteers who walk in. Like when we show up as a community, that is so hopeful. When we stop saying, pointing fingers at who to blame and start saying, what can we do? Super hopeful. So that's where I find my hope.
answer. Thank you. I think that's actually a great place to end it, unless you have anything else you wanna share.
I just want to say thank you. Thanks for having me, and thanks for caring. And please, please, from the bottom of my heart, share with somebody in your circle that we need to maintain hope for those people on the street, that is a human being, not just a nuisance or a blight on our community, or can you believe what happened to London, Ontario? This is a systemic problem. But we can't fix the system in a moment, but we can fix the human interaction, each one of us, like with these eyes on those person's eyes, with the $5 you can pull out, and it does not hurt to just treat someone with dignity. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to be here with us. We sincerely appreciate your insight into what's going on and everything that you and Arcade are doing in our community. So, I mean, we just gave her a round of applause, but let's do it one more time. All right, pals, it is time to put those generous hearts and those piggy banks to use. We've heard tonight about the social exclusion that exists within the city and the need for financial contributions to allow Arcade to continue to offer the incredible services and programs that it does. This is where we come in. You'll see the QR codes scattered on your tables. This will take you directly to the donation page, so please give whatever is within your capacity to contribute. You'll receive a tax receipt directly from Arcade for your donation, and then we'll follow up in the coming days with the total of donated dollars so you can see what the collective impact is from tonight's event. I'd like to extend a great big thank you to Stormsdade for inviting us into their space tonight. They have graciously allowed us to remain here until 9 p.m. So once you've made your donation, please feel free to grab another drink and socialize until it's time to leave. Thanks again for joining us tonight and for your generous donations. We are planning to host these events a couple of times a year here, so if you enjoyed being a part of tonight, keep your eyes peeled for our next GiveCo 519 event in 2026. And please help us spread the word by sharing on your socials and inviting the people you know and love. Enjoy the rest of your night, and please get home safe.
Thank you.
It was amazing.
Not too long.